This Black History Month, we've seen a lot of posts about Black Wall Street. Even I posted about it. But did you know there were many more Black communities that prospered? Here are a few. Ever wondered how Mamie Till stayed safe during Emmett Till's trial? That's because she stayed in Mound Bayou, the all-Black town in the Mississippi Delta. This armed community not only kept her safe, but also the Black press that arrived in Mississippi and the witnesses. Back in 1887, founders Isaiah T. Montgomery and his cousin Benjamin T. Green bought 840 acres of Mississippi swampland that was covered with dense hardwood forests and blossomed into a self-reliant, autonomous, all-Black community. Now, Israel Hill in what is now Farmville, Virginia, has an interesting backstory. The tea is that these Blacks, who called themselves Israelites, were freed by the second cousin of Thomas Jefferson, who himself owned over 600 slaves during his lifetime. He also denied that whites and freed Blacks could live together in harmony and was a strong believer in the inherent inferiority of Black people, as well as a strong adversary of miscegenation or the sexual contact between Blacks and whites, even though he himself fathered at least 6 children by Sally Hemings, a Black woman and one of his slaves. So his second cousin, Thomas Jefferson's second cousin, Richard Randolph, put it in his will to free his slaves, which his wife Judith executed. So between 1810 and 1811, 90 formerly enslaved Blacks received freedom and 350 acres of land, which they turned into their own community and named it Israel Hill. They worked as farmers, boatmen, and even bought and sold real estate. Next up is Blackdom, which was a modest town of African Americans who arrived in the West after the passage of the Federal Homestead Act of 1862 and was founded by Francis and his wife Ella Boyer. The story goes that Francis witnessed the murder of a Black barber who was executed in cold blood, and that this is what convinced him to leave the Jim Crow South. His father was also a Buffalo soldier during the Mexican-American War, and after being threatened by the Ku Klux Klan, encouraged him to move west. As a child, Boyer heard stories about New Mexico from his father. And in 1900, he left and headed west on foot, where he founded Blackdom. Lots of rain during the first decade of the 1900s supported the communities and residents of Blackdom, where they were able to raise lots of crops like lettuce, tomatoes, and apples. The community also produced New Mexico's first African-American lawyer, W.T. Malone. At its peak, Blackdom was home to 300 people. Other Black communities that prospered include Fort Mose, Florida, Boley, Oklahoma, and many, many more.